Hi, welcome to this channel where we try to make literature accessible to everyone. And now, without further ado, A Midsummer Night's Dream in 10 minutes. For young lovers are in love in ancient Athens, but two of them are secretly married, because the other two are in love with each other and want to be together. One of the lovers, a girl named Hermia, is being forced by her father to marry a guy named Demetrius, but she doesn't want to marry him. She only has 3 days to decide, or else her father will disallow her from marrying anyone, and she will have to live out the remainder of her life as a nun. Hermia's best friend Helena is also in love with Demetrius, but he doesn't feel the same way about her, and she's been rejected many times. So Helena tells Demetrius that Hermia is actually in love with another guy named Lysander. She thinks that if he knows this, he might break up with her, and maybe then he'll be free to be with Helena. But this was a lie, and now Demetrius has gone to find Lysander to fight him for Hermia's love. Meanwhile, in an enchanted forest outside of town, the fairy king Oberon and his queen Titania are getting a divorce. Oberon wants Titania to give him a changeling boy to be his page, but she won't. And so they decide to part ways until they can figure out what to do next. Oberon meets up with his mischievous fairy servant Puck and tells him to go find a flower called Love in Idleness that blooms only at night and has magical properties. Puck is supposed to take its pollen and put it on the next person who enters the forest, so that they fall madly in love with the next thing that they see. Oberon hopes that he can use this to get his revenge on Titania by making her fall in love with something ugly. Now, as it happens, the four lovers have all entered the forest. Let's see if you can keep track of who loves who. Hermia is in love with Lysander. Lysander is in love with Hermia. Demetrius is in love with Hermia, but she doesn't love him. And Helena is in love with Demetrius, but he doesn't love her. Puck accidentally puts the Love in Idleness on Lysander instead of Oberon. And when he wakes up, he falls madly in love with the first thing he sees, which happens to be a donkey. Now Hermia wakes up and finds Lysander with his eyes locked on the donkey. She is very confused, but Lysander can't bring himself to leave the donkey. So she runs off into the forest to find Helena, who then wakes up and is put under the same spell as Lysander. She immediately falls in love with the first thing she sees, which happens to be Demetrius. Just as Hermia comes upon them, Demetrius too is hit with the Love in Idleness, and he falls in love with a nearby tree. At this point, Hermia is understandably pretty upset. All of her friends have gone crazy and fallen in love with inanimate objects, so she runs away to escape their lunacy. Puck finds her, and she mistakes him for a man. He plays along for a bit, pretending to be in love with her and trying to grope her, but she escapes into the forest. She bumps into Oberon, who demands to know why she's there. She explains to him the situation, and he realizes that Puck has made a mistake. He casts a spell on Hermia so that she'll wake up tomorrow and remember everything. Then he goes to find Titania so that he can put the Love in Idleness on her and make her fall in love with one of the rude mechanicals. In the meantime, 4 of the meanest tradesmen in Athens, the mechanicals, have decided to put on a play for the upcoming wedding of Theseus, Duke of Athens, and Hippolyta, Queen of the Amazons. The 4 men are Bottom, a weaver, Francis Flute, a fuller, or someone who cleans and dresses cloth; John Snug, a joiner or carpenter; and Lionel, a tinker. They are rehearsing their play, which is called Pyramus and Thisbe, when Puck finds them and turns Bottom into a donkey. The other 3 tradesmen are terrified, but Puck is just getting started. He turns the whole forest into a playground and starts messing with all of the fairies. He pulls a vine across the path of Titania as she's walking through the woods, and she falls asleep. He then rubs the Love in Idleness on her face, and she wakes up and immediately falls in love with the first thing she sees, which happens to be Bottom in his donkey skin. Oberon wakes up, sees Titania with Bottom, and realizes that Puck has once again made a mess of things. He undoes the spell on Titania, snaps Bottom out of his donkey form, and tells the fairies to forget that anything weird ever happened in the forest. Then he and Titania reconcile and become a happy couple once more. He gives her the changeling boy that she agreed to give him earlier, and they all fly off to celebrate. The 4 lovers wake up to find that the magic has worn off, and they're still in love with each other. They're all very happy and agree to get married right away. The 4 tradesmen wake up and realize that their play has been ruined. Bottom is very upset because he had really wanted to perform. Luckily, though, they're all invited to the Duke's wedding anyway. and Theseus agrees to let them perform their play during the festivities. Everyone attends the Duke's wedding, and after the ceremony, the mechanicals put on a truly awful play. It's so bad that even the donkey, who is present, tries to eat the playwright. The audience laughs so hard at the ridiculous play that they forget to stone the mechanicals. And so everyone is in good spirits as the play ends. So what's the moral of this story? Well, if you ask me, it's don't use magic to manipulate people's romantic feelings unless you know what you're doing, because it could end up with you falling in love with a talking donkey. And talking of love, isn't it strange how quickly our feelings can change? You can't always trust your heart, but you can always trust Shakespeare. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and share and subscribe. See you next time.